You're listening to the Spooky Darlings, where three sisters talk about all sorts of things, and sometimes we have a 3D episode. And today, our sister Emily has chosen the topic, which is birthday crimes. Emily?
Yeah,
Should we introduce
ourselves?
Oh, sure. I'm Hayley.
I'm Nettie.
I'm Emily. And yes, I did choose this topic, and it is birthday crimes, which is actually a confusing way to say it because it's not crimes about birthdays. It's crimes that happened on each of our dates of birth.
Oh, but that would be another really interesting 3D, would be crimes that happened.
About birthdays.
Like birthday-related
crimes. Like,
Yeah.
happy birthday.
You're dead.
Yes, happy birthday. Here's a knife.
That would be a different... You could do that one for your next 3D
Happy
episode if you
birthday,
want.
here's a knife. Yeah.
Probably won't.
So I chose this topic, and I actually have been through a few. Like, I chose it because I had a specific crime in mind, and then I've actually chosen more than one other topic to do in the time since we talked about it. But I would like for us to go in order of our births, which is Nettie first,
Me first.
me second, Hayley third, because it's oldest, middle, youngest. And that's the order we're going to go in today. So, Nettie, do you want to tell us your crime that happened on your birthday?
I do. I want to. Okay.
Hooray.
Before we get into it, I wanted to do a little bit on February 18th, which is my birthday, like just things that have happened. So, 1930, an astronomer named Clyde Tombaugh discovered Pluto.
Ooh.
And so there's an International Pluto Day, and it's February 18th.
Joke's on him. It was undiscovered and
Yeah.
then rediscovered.
Yeah, well, it still happened on my birthday. So many things, undiscovered, rediscovered.
Love it.
So International Pluto Day is February 18th. Also, in 1885, Mark Twain published The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn in the United States on my birthday. However, it had already been published in England. And in 1978, a group of athletes competed in the first ever Ironman triathlon on February 18th. Yes. Also, 2021, NASA's Perseverance rover touched down on Mars. So a lot of
1921.
that would 2021. Also, other famous birthdays that happened on February 18th. John Travolta, Dr. Dre, Yoko Ono. And February 18th is also National Drink Wine Day. I never knew that until I knew about John Travolta, and I think I knew about Yoko Ono, but like Dr. Dre was a surprise, and International Wine Day was a surprise.
Even more of a reason to celebrate your birthday.
Yes. So those are all some happy, light, or interesting things that happened on February 18th. But there is another thing that happened on February 18th in the year 2003. I was celebrating my first birthday as a married woman. Brent and I had just gotten back from a weekend trip with my favorite boy cousin, Joel Nelson, and his wife, Diane, also one of my favorites, where we had gone to Crater Lake and stayed at one of those timeshares. We'd had a great time. And I remember Brent and I went out to dinner on that same day, February 18th, 2003, on the same day of my birthday, at 9:53 in the morning in South Korea, in the city of Daegu, a 56-year-old man boarded a subway train carrying a duffel bag. And inside that duffel bag, he carried 2 milk cartons. And this seems totally normal, except these cartons were filled with gasoline. And by 1:38 that afternoon, 192 people were dead. So his name was Kim Dae-han. He was 56 years old, and he was a former taxi driver. About 2 years earlier, so in November of 2001, Kim had a stroke, and it left him partially paralyzed on the left side of his body. And in the years after, so like over the next year and a half, he had racked up a bunch of medical debt. He had sought medical care and felt like he was ignored by doctors. He wasn't listened to. He tried to talk to doctors about his increasing depression, and he felt like he was ignored. And He said to police later that he grew angrier and angrier about all of his medical care and his medical bills. And his son had recalled that Kim, his father, had said that he wanted to blow up or burn down the hospital. But his son just thought he was angry and wasn't taking it seriously. He just thought it was a remark you make when you're mad. Like, oh, I could kill that guy.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But Kim eventually sank into a depression so severe that he decided he wanted to die. But here's the part that's really heartbreaking is he told police that he didn't want to die alone.
Oh.
He wanted to do it somewhere crowded, and he wanted other people to die with him.
Oh, no.
So on the morning of February 18th, 2003, Kim Dae-han got on a subway train at Songyeon Station. This was one stop before the Junggangno station, and he had a duffel bag full of the gasoline. Also, he had a lighter with him.
Oh, no.
The train he boarded was called the 1079, and as it pulled away from the station, and it wasn't a very long ride, Kim started fumbling with the cartons in his duffel bag and with a lighter, and this drew the attention of other people on the train. So first an elderly person was like, hey, he's doing something. What's he doing? And then other passengers started to notice. They saw that he was pulling out these milk cartons. They smelled that they contained something flammable, and so they tried to put a stop to it. In the process of the passengers trying to overpower Kim, the lighter fluid spilled all over Kim's pants and also on the floor of the subway cart. And a spark from the lighter lit it. So as the subway train is pulling into Junggangno Station, one car is already on fire. However, every single passenger spilled out onto the platform, including Kim.
Oh
and
gosh.
They were able to run up the stairs and escape. Meanwhile, the train continued to burn. It ignited and all 6 cars ignited. However, everyone on the train was able to get out. So Kim got out. Most, if not all, of the other passengers got out. Like when I researched it, it said it is believed that...
And Kim is on fire?
Yeah, Kim is on fire and he's severely burned, like the bottom half of his body, 3rd-degree burns. It was believed that all of the passengers from train 179 got out. But the fire did not stop burning.
Yeah, and the train keeps going?
No, it stopped. It was stopped when the people got out. So it pulled up on the platform and was...
Well, but after that, it goes?
No, it has a driver.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. So the train is stopped. People spill out. But the inside of that train car, everything it's built with, the insulation, the seat cushions, the handles, the floor matting, everything was built of cheap, fast-burning plastic and vinyl because what was important to them was like cost effectiveness. They wanted the subway system to run on as little power as possible. And so they prioritized efficiency and cost effectiveness over safety. Also, the outside of the subway car was pure aluminum. So basically you had a flammable inside encased in metal.
Jeez.
And so quickly, all 6 cars, within a couple of minutes, within 2 minutes, it said the entire train was on fire. So the driver of the 1079, that's the train that just pulled in, was named Choi Jang-hwan. He did not immediately call it into the control center. And by the time, and we don't really know why he didn't immediately call it in, but by the time he finally did, the control center wasn't really responding in a helpful way. Apparently, false calls had been made before, so they didn't always take a report of fire seriously. However, they were watching monitors. So when the control center finally started looking at monitors and realized that the subway station was filling full of smoke and that they could see a fire was happening, they decided to tell another train. The 1079 pulls in one direction. Meanwhile, parallel to it is another track. So the 1080 is just a few minutes away, and it will pull in parallel to the 1079.
Oh, no.
So they radio to the driver of the 1080, and his name is Choi Sang-yeol, and they said, hey, there's a small fire at the station, so proceed with caution when you get there. And so Choi wasn't even super alarmed. He was like, okay, all right, I'll wait for further instructions. And he kept going. He pulled the train in right next to the other train, which is on fire. As he stops, the doors automatically open like they do so people can deboard. He immediately shuts the doors because in his mind, he's like, I've got to keep everyone safe inside this train. I've got to keep the smoke out and wait for further instructions. So the doors open for a minute. Smoke starts billowing in. He shuts them. So the passengers on the train were told by him, sit still and wait. I'm waiting for further instructions from the control tower. And like every single bit of the story, it's like one little thing that caused a delay, that caused 30 seconds of delay and another 30 seconds of delay. And when you're dealing with fire and you're dealing with flammable material, seconds matter. And it's like the totality of death is because of little things like this. So Choi thinks he's doing the right thing. He tells everyone to stay calm. He shut the doors to keep out the smoke and what he thinks is to keep out the fire. And he says, just stay calm. Let's wait for our directions. But what happened was the station's automatic fire detection system kicked in, exactly like it was designed to do. And what it did was it cut power to both trains. So he had shut the doors, and now power was cut to both trains. So the 1080 is stopped. It has no power. It is full of passengers at a station that is rapidly filling with smoke. So the train, the 1079 was evacuated, but is still on fire. The 1080 is starting to fill with smoke very rapidly. He had made 3 announcements, had called the control tower 3 times, or the control center 3 times. They had not responded, except for on the 3rd time, they finally responded, get out and get up quickly, run somewhere else, go up, kill the engine and go. Because precious time had already gone. Because each time he made that call, he would wait like a minute for them to respond. So Choi, not realizing that the power was cut to the car, pushed the button that would normally open the doors, and then he took out the master key and he ran. So he was able to escape, and he didn't realize that he left 145 people on that train, basically entombed in the most flammable metal, like sealed in a metal casket, essentially. They were entombed in a metal casket with flammable material. Ooh. So without that key, there was no way to open those doors unless you were like a trained subway employee who knew how to like undo the emergency latch and manually open it. And there was nothing instinctive or obvious about it. Plus, this station was completely black. So the only light people had was cell phones. And so I think one car was able to figure it out and open it. And by then it was so thick with smoke that they couldn't even see. People were able to get out only because they knew they were regular passengers. So they knew the passageway and could find the stairs without seeing. But as they're going up the stairs, metal doors had been shut, fire doors, like automatically shut. So they were also sealed in. And I think some of them were able to get out when emergency crews came, but a lot of people died while trying to flee.
Oh my goodness.
So after Choi left, everyone left on that train died. 145 people died within the train. And what's crazy about this was not like the totality of life, 192 is the total that died, is so big that you would almost think it was like a bomb or like some major attack that was planned. But it was literally a depressed old man, half paralyzed, with a milk carton full of gasoline and a lighter caused all of this.
Well, when you started telling the story, I was like, oh, he doused everything, obviously, and blah, blah, blah. But that's not even...
It like almost
on purpose, yeah.
It almost, from people's reports, it almost seemed like by the time the people intervened and were trying to get the lighter away from him, that he had almost changed his mind. And so it's like in the struggle, he seemed surprised when the gasoline actually spilled on him and surprised when the fire started. And then he fled with everyone. So he didn't even stay and try to die. So it's almost like, I think, well, first of all, terrible act and a terrible selfish thing to do to try to take a bunch of people with you. But I don't think he thought it through.
No,
really.
It doesn't sound like
and it. And I think that it's almost like he changed his mind mid-plan.
It's also like those things that they had put in place with the knowledge that they had of what they thought could happen in these emergencies. They were trying to prevent additional loss of life with these fail-safes that they had in place, which ended up causing
More harm.
all of the deaths, basically. Every
Yes.
single death was because of these safety measures that were put in place.
Yeah.
And it's just so tragic because every policy comes from some other crazy thing that's happened before, you know? And I mean, we're humans and we're learning and we're trying our best, but like, that they weren't like, okay, well, we could lose this many people if we do this. Like they had not thought of a scenario where a fire
Right.
or smoke would jump from one train to another in this situation.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Like, why would you even think it could happen?
You wouldn't.
And like the money saving of like, let's get these cheap products. You don't think that someone's gonna.
Efficiency.
Part of it isn't just, I mean, the efficiency part is lightweight products so that your train can travel fast with less fuel. I mean, like, I understand that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially from an engineering standpoint. That's what engineers are taught to do.
Yes.
Like, how can we make this efficient?
And
Yeah,
then
you're not thinking, what's the flammability? Yeah.
after that, they're like, okay, well, this caused catastrophic loss of life. Like, we've got to look at a different method. But, I mean, I don't know. It's just so sad.
So, yeah. And then you think like, well, they had these things like, okay, so if smoke is detected, we cut power so that, nothing else like will spark a fire, but people couldn't see. I guess that there were emergency exit lights, but they couldn't be seen. Like
Through
the
the smoke.
smoke.
That's what I've heard about,
smoke.
like, planes going down too. Like, that's why people tell you count the number of seats in front of you and behind you because you won't be able to see the emergency exit lights.
You told me that, and I have every time I've flown since then, I have counted the seats
Yeah.
to the emergency exit.
Yeah, count the seats forward and backwards, so you know if you can get one way or the other. You know what number of rows to count as you're feeling your way, which sounds crazy to think about. And I know it sucks too when we're all living in this anxiety world, and we know that the likelihood is so low of these things happening. Like to put that in your head or your kid's head or whatever, but it could save a life. Like it's just.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about that
absolutely.
before on an episode. I can't remember why. I
We
can't remember
have.
what episode.
And if you're
I'll
hearing
talk
this for
about
the
it
first
again.
time,
Count your
You're
rows.
welcome.
Count your rows to
Right.
the exit rows.
So, aside from like no emergency lighting, the doors closing, and this was so many of life is valuable at any age, but so many, like the majority of these passengers were students headed to classes at the university in Daegu or young shop girls headed to their jobs for the shops that opened up at 10:30 because that's like the time shops open up. So the train would arrive at 10 o'clock. It was the 10 o'clock train, and it was so many people were just like young students and shop girls.
Goodness.
That 18 to 25 young adult demographic.
Yeah. And also the platform was really full because it was such a busy time. It was almost like you have the morning rush where people are headed to their day jobs, like their business jobs. And then you had like the 10 a.m. rush, which was students and people working at the shops and people headed to shop. So the platform was fuller than normal. A lot of the victims, the people trapped in the car or trapped on the platform, called their families from inside the smoke. And this is actually how investigators were later able to reconstruct who had been in the station at all, because the fire burned so fiercely that bodies were not left, are not identifiable. In fact, out of 192 body identifications, 185 were made by DNA only identification. And then the remaining 7 were made due to belongings or due to text messages received by family members.
cow.
So I have some examples of final phone calls that were made that I'm going to read to you. And these were families reported that their loved ones left this. So there's this one. 20-year-old Lee Seong-young called her mother at 10 a.m. saying, "Mom, there's a fire in the subway and I can't breathe." When her mother urged her to stay calm, she whispered that she could no longer talk and ended with, "I love you, mother," before the line disconnected. 19-year-old Lee Mi-young reached her father and she cried out, "Daddy, help me, the door won't open," before the signal went dead. And another passenger called her husband, stating simply that the smoke was choking her and the doors were locked, and that was all she could say. Another person said, "Mom, I can't breathe. Mom, you know I love you, right?" And then another girl said, "There's a fire. I'm going to heaven first." And then another person reported their loved one texted, I'm sorry that I was angry at you this morning. I didn't mean it. I love you, baby, forever. And then a father to his family left a voicemail that said, study hard and grow up well. Daddy is sorry. And then a mother left a message for her daughter saying, I'm sorry. I won't be able to deliver the bag and shoes. I was going to make you a pork cutlet too. Sorry, my daughter. I love you.
Oh, God. So sad. Oh, my
It's so awful. So more than 1,300 firefighters and emergency workers responded to this event. And the fire itself burned for 3 hours.
Wow.
So it started around 10 a.m. or a little bit before. 9:53 is when the fire actually started. It did not stop burning until 1:38 p.m. And emergency workers couldn't even enter until 3 hours after it stopped burning. And I have pictures I'll show you of like the opening to the subway with smoke just billowing out, and then pictures of the burnt out cars that I'll send you, Emily, for the social media posts. But a few of the emergency responders tried to enter to rescue people, but the fumes were so toxic that even with their fire protective gear, they realized they wouldn't survive it. Mm-hmm. They also said that as they tried to descend the steps, that they kept tripping on objects, and those objects were bodies.
Oh my gosh.
So sad.
It is. It's terrible. 192 confirmed dead, around 150 injured. And I already told you most victims were burned so badly they had to be identified through DNA. A handful of families never got any remains back because their loved ones were just completely incinerated. They just got belongings recovered from the wreckage. And the trial happened really fast. So there was a criminal trial. Within 6 months, Kim Dae-han was on trial, and prosecutors wanted to push for the death penalty, and so did like the majority of the victims' families. But the court gave him life in prison instead, citing his documented mental illness, and the judge said that he expressed genuine remorse and felt terrible for what had happened and for the huge toll of life. And there was also, like, clearly it had been documented that he had sought treatment for his mental health and had been kind of denied and ignored.
Right. Golly.
Yeah. However, he only lived 1 year in prison before he died of illness, like of his just ongoing illness he had suffered, like, I think probably complications from his stroke.
Jeez.
So in the end, it almost didn't matter what sentence he got, but I think it still would have felt good to the families to have the death penalty. But I don't know.
Seriousness.
Yeah. But I understand the, life when you know it's a mental illness, the life in prison.
Yeah. And he was seeking help, which I think contributes for sure. But man, golly. Wow.
Just the immense loss of life. Almost 200 people.
Devastating.
From a milk carton. And I don't think these were big milk cartons. This is like Korea. We're not talking like American gallons.
Like the
Right.
jugs,
We're talking, we're talking
Like milkman
little,
jugs.
Little cartons of milk. We're not talking huge, just from little cartons of milk and a lighter. It's, so also, both train drivers, Choi Sang-yul and Choi Jung-hwan. So Choi Sang-yul was the driver of the 1080, and he's the one that took the master key with him, leaving people entombed.
I can only imagine how he feels.
Oh, terrible. And he did not know. Like, he did not realize that the doors wouldn't open because he pushed the button to open the doors and just took the key. And that was actually what his training told him to do. And that's how they turned off, like, at the end of each shift. It was like, shut things down, open the doors, take the master key. He didn't realize that because the power had been cut to the station, that the only way to open those doors, I was a little confused as to whether it was like you had to power on the car and the battery would open it, or if the key manually opened the door. I think it was a battery thing because the subways are connected with to the system.
It had that like master power thing of like smoke detected, power shuts off.
Yeah. So he felt terrible. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison, and then the other driver...
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, I know. I felt like that was harsh. The other driver, Choi Jung-hwan, who was the driver of the 1079, got sentenced to 4 years in prison because he was too slow to call in the fire.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Wow.
I know
I
it's
felt-
weird
I
to
feel like-
see like leniency for Kim because of his mental
Yeah.
illness, but then almost like an extreme harshness for the two drivers who
did what they were trained to do.
I mean, it's clear that neither of them, like, I almost wonder if the driver of the train should have been like the captain of a ship. Like, you don't leave with the key until you make sure people are off. I wonder if it's almost like that kind of mentality.
Like he should have cared for his passengers before getting out.
Yeah, yes, and made sure. But he said in his mind he thought the doors were opening and he couldn't see. Like, that's the other thing. It's like it was so full of smoke.
And if the instructions he had gotten were get out and get up, like that was what he was told. Like
that's not his
so
fault.
tragic.
Jeez.
People in the control center were also charged with negligence, but given much lesser sentences, like a couple months in prison. But I think they were trying to send a message about, like, if you're in this position where you're basically operating something that the public relies on, you're in a position of public safety and you have to take that job seriously and you have to do your job right. But a lot of changes happened because of this. As Emily was talking about earlier, like, so many of our safety measures are in place. They started ripping out all the cheap plastic and vinyl and everything flammable and replaced it all with fire-resistant materials. And they also installed sprinklers. There were no sprinklers in this station. Also, they had fire extinguishers, but not on the train. They just had them at the station. So the people that were stuck inside the car didn't have any way of, like, getting a fire extinguisher to extinguish the fire within each car.
Yeah. Okay.
that's so sad.
So better ventilation, just like tons of safety measures. And in case you think South Korea is no fun at all, in December of 2008, so 5 years later, the city opened up a theme park in Daegu, and the theme is safety. That's right. It is called the Daegu Citizens Safety Theme Park. It was built in part to honor the victims of the Daegu Subway fire, but it was also built to train people on how to act and survive in an emergency situation. And so activities, if you decide you want to go there, activities that you can experience would be the subway disaster escape, where you take part in a specialized simulation of a subway train fire, and you learn to evacuate through dark, smoke-filled virtual train cars.
Oh my gosh.
That's insane, though. I mean, can you imagine? I feel like culturally in America, we would not be okay with that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we would be.
I mean, I'm not saying that our culture is correct to not be okay with it. Like, if you can make...
No, everyone would say, why would we traumatize people? But truthfully, it is a good
helps
safety
you.
exercise.
Yes.
And that's not all. There's more. Let me tell you. There's also a 4D earthquake simulation where you get on a motion platform and experience basically the exact effects of an earthquake, the shaking, and the hazards of an earthquake. There's also a living and natural disaster safety experience where you have interactive training for typhoons, floods, forest fires, a high-rise building collapsing.
Oh my gosh.
And descending, practicing escaping down fire escapes.
Wow.
And safety ladders. Like, you can do all of this in the safety theme park.
Wow.
There's also first aid and crisis response training. So you can go and get instruction in cardiopulmonary resuscitation, which is CPR and the Heimlich maneuver.
I mean, I guess I'm just like, this is a theme park,
It
but
is.
it feels
Yes.
like it should just be called like a training
Should be
area.
like corporate paid safety training exercise.
Yes.
Did I tell you guys about the time that Jordan was staying at the Grand Hyatt in Malaysia and an alarm went off in the middle of the night? It was like 3 a.m. and he had to run down like 34 flights of stairs to get to the bottom. And he got there and nobody was out there. And he was like, what is going on? So he went and asked people and he was like, what's this alarm about? And they were like, what alarm? And he was like, there was an alarm in my room. And apparently somehow there was like some sort of specific to his room only alarm that was triggered in the middle of the night. And he knew not to take an elevator, ran down 34 flights of stairs at like
God.
all hours of the morning. It was insane. It was so crazy.
I do remember you telling us
sounds
about
nuts.
that, but for some reason, when you were recounting it to us right now, I thought you were going to say, and it was his alarm clock.
No, it was actually something from the hotel, and they were so apologetic, like they felt so bad, but it
my
was
gosh.
insane. He was just
They're like, sorry, that was for the last guy. He signed up for the safety theme park. For the safety theme. They did say, there's also firefighter training. So future firefighters will go to the theme park for training. But they did say, like, they make clear this is a theme park, not an amusement park.
Oh, theme.
Oh, yes.
However, I gotta say, I think I would take my kids and I think they would dig it.
Yeah.
They'd be like, let's make safety fun and scary.
Think about how we played as kids. Like, we never played like dream life. I'm a princess. It was always like, I'm being kidnapped.
Yeah.
I'm an orphan. I'm starving on the
There's this-
Oregon Trail.
There's this abandoned teeny tiny shack.
I've been possessed by a witch. That's how kids play in
Lost
danger.
Girls.
Like, I think that the truth is, like, this would be a 12-year-old boy's dream. I mean, Oliver, can you imagine?
He would love it.
And 12-year-old me.
Yeah, and 12-year-old Hayley. We're going to take 12-year-old Hayley and 12-year-old Oliver.
They are going to crush this place.
We're going to
He'll
love
be
it.
like, can we please go on the subway fire simulation again, Mom? I want to escape faster.
and
you'll be like,
Emily is like,
"Yeah."
ask your Aunt Haley.
Like,
Yeah, Hayley will
yes,
take you.
Haley will take you.
You're like, there's a warning that says you should only do it 3 times before you might experience serious lung damage. So one more time.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Well,
funny. Haley, I mean,
wow.
Nettie, good job. That was so
Oh,
good.
thank you. And I was going to say, had you guys ever heard of this?
No.
So Lola hadn't either because I
And
practiced
devastating.
on Lola.
You made me cry my eyes out.
Oh my gosh, those
So sad.
messages home. Oh, but part of the reason why this was not well known is because, it was in 2003. So even though we had internet and we had social media, kind of at the beginnings of it, it's still we weren't really in the habit of sharing global news. And South Korea was super protective of its international reputation and appearance.
Yeah.
So they really filtered the news stories that they would let out.
Wait, remind me what year this was?
2003.
Yeah, because
We
in the
also-
1980s, South Korea hosted the Olympics and they had that program where they took like homeless from the streets and they
Yes.
put them in this horrific.
Yeah, it was what that TV show was
It's
based
what
on.
Squid Games
Squid
is based
Games.
on.
Oh yes, Rotten Mango.
She covers
What
it
is her
really
name?
well.
Sue?
Stephanie Sue.
Stephanie Sue. Oh my gosh, yes, she does that. That was one of the best. I loved the series.
Also, though, in 2003, we didn't have news from our phones, really. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
we were starting to
That's
have
true.
flip phones pretty accessible, but we didn't have smartphones yet. We weren't like,
Absolutely.
still texting on a thing where you had to
T9.
like do.
yeah, the
T9
three,
texting.
the 3-click.
Yes. I was so fast. I could do that so
me
well.
too.
Me too. I was real fast.
Wow. Yeah.
Good
so,
job, Nettie. That was so
Pluto,
good.
Huckleberry Finn, Rover on Mars, John Travolta, International Wine Day. But probably the most important thing is that on February 18th, 2003, the Daegu Subway Disaster occurred. And I think that's probably the most important one to remember.
Yeah.
So thanks. That's it.
Goodness. Wow. That was really good, Nettie.
Good job.
Thank you. Thanks for talking with me about it. It was so sad.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard of it. And so when it came up, I was like, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to tell you about a case that happened on my birthday. You may know this case. Robert William Fisher. He was born in New York City on April 13th, 1961, which is 4 days after my birthday. That is not the connection to my birthday. His parents were William Fisher, who worked as a banker, and Jan Fisher, who her maiden name was Howell. That's not important. Whatever. Robert had 2 sisters, but his parents divorced in 1976 when he was about 15 years old. And this was like a big deal to him. He felt like this kind of like, he was very resentful about his parents having divorced.
Yeah.
Fisher and his sisters moved to Arizona with their fathers to finish out high school. After high school, Robert Fisher enlisted in the Navy. He tried to get into the Navy SEAL training, but he did not make it. So he then worked as a firefighter in California for a few years. And then a back injury forced him to make a career change. So he became a weed sprayer for a while in the 80s, and then he entered the medical field, and his jobs included working as a respiratory therapist, a surgical catheter technician, and then by 2001, he was a surgical technician at the Mayo Clinic in Scottsdale. He married Mary Cooper in 1987. They had 2 children, Bobby and Brittany. The marriage was troubled. Fisher was described by people who knew him as being controlling, emotionally distant, domineering. Neighbors reported lots of loud arguments. So there were also accounts of weird or troubling behavior towards the children. On one occasion, Fisher reportedly, his kids didn't know how to swim yet, so he threw them off a boat and then mocked them after pulling them out of the water for not knowing how to swim.
That is so mean.
So Robert Fisher's mother, who, was the one who had divorced his father, later told investigators that she saw similarities between her son's marriage and her own marriage. And she said that Robert's father had also been kind of domineering and troubling before the divorce. And she noticed this pattern early in Robert and Mary's marriage and discussed her concerns with Mary. Mary's mother told investigators that Fisher seemed reluctant to become emotionally close to his family because he feared abandonment or eventually losing them. Robert Fisher was an experienced outdoorsman who enjoyed hunting, fishing, and he was pretty disappointed that his son, Bobby, didn't share his interests. Friends told of one Bobby Fisher. Yeah, are you excited about that name?
Wait, is it the Bobby Fisher?
No, it's not. It's not the chess Bobby Fisher, unfortunately.
I thought you were going to be like, and
That is
And
where
the
he
crime.
loved chess.
Unfortunately, this ends tragically before Bobby knew if he was a chess player or not. But I'll tell you more about
So
this.
Albert was not raising a chess champion?
No, unfortunately. But during one hunting trip, Robert Fisher was out hunting with friends. He killed an elk, and then he rubbed the animal's blood all across his whole face, which made his friends all freaked out. And then another time he snuck up upon a picnicking family and fired his gun repeatedly into the air just to terrify the family, just for no reason, So these
I don't love that.
I will say, my kid, my oldest, being a very avid hunter, the blood thing is not that uncommon.
Maybe not, but maybe for an adult man, it might be a little bit weirder than it would be for a teenager.
Yeah.
Also, a few years later, he shot a stray pit bull. He claimed that the animal had attacked his Labrador retriever.
Laboratory.
Laboratory retriever. He claimed that the animal had attacked his Labrador retriever, but police... I can't say it. Let me try that again.
Laboratory.
Fisher claimed that the animal had attacked his Labrador retriever. Police believed, though, that Fisher had actually deliberately created a confrontation because he wanted to shoot the dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
So by the late 1990s, Robert and Mary's marriage was experiencing difficulties. In 1998, they sought marriage counseling from a senior pastor at their church. Around the same time, Fisher had told some of his friends that problems in his marriage had caused him to possibly consider committing suicide. And then in late 2000, Fisher told coworkers at the Mayo Clinic where he was working at the time that he had visited a massage parlor where he had a sexual encounter with a prostitute. He developed some sort of urinary tract infection, possibly an STI.
So he said he got that from the sex worker at the massage parlor?
Yes, and then he was saying that he was sick for a few days and he was worried and told his coworkers that he was worried that Mary would find out. That she would get it or that she would find out or, whatever. He was worried on all these levels.
She finds out.
Yeah.
And around this,
And leaves his ass.
around this same time, Mary had also confided in some friends that she was considering or planning to divorce Robert. So investigators kind of looked at this through a lens of possible motive for the events that unfolded soon after.
Oh, no.
On the night of April 9th, 2001, April 9th is my birthday. That is how it ties into our 3D episode.
4-9.
So at around 10 p.m., April 9th, a neighbor reported hearing a loud argument coming from the Fisher house between Robert and Mary. Around 10:43 p.m., a surveillance camera recorded Robert Fisher withdrawing about $280 from an ATM, and Mary's Toyota 4Runner was in the background behind him. So he had supposedly driven the 4Runner there, driven her car there to withdraw the money. So what happened between hearing the argument and the next morning, we're not entirely sure the exact timeline of events, but at 8:42 a.m. on April 10th, the Fisher home exploded into flames.
Oh my.
What? On your husband's birthday?
On my husband's birthday, yes. My husband does have
Good
April
catch,
10th as a
Hayley.
birthday. And the blast was powerful enough to collapse the home's front brick, and residents around felt it as far as half a mile away. So immediately neighbors are calling fire department. They're trying their best to fight the flames with garden hoses while waiting for the firefighters to arrive. When the firefighters did arrive, they encountered flames that were 20 feet in the air. So this was a pretty intense fire. Their priority was trying to prevent it from spreading to surrounding homes and to see if they could save anybody that could potentially have been inside. Several smaller explosions occurred during the fire, possibly involving ammunition or other explosive materials like paint containers or whatever else could have been inside in the garage or whatever. And these secondary blasts forced firefighters to maintain quite a considerable distance from the structure.
Wow.
And once they got the fire out, investigators discovered that a gas line that was connected to the furnace at the rear of the house had been pulled loose.
Oh my gosh.
So their reconstruction of events suggested that somebody had pulled this line loose, natural gas had gradually accumulated inside the house, and a burning candle left lit inside, most likely by Fisher, allegedly by Fisher, could have functioned as some sort of delayed system to ignite the entire house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So investigators suspected that the fire was intended to destroy evidence and create uncertainty over whether Fisher was also inside. But what they found inside the house was Mary and the two children dead from the two children. Their throats had been slit while they lay in bed, most likely sleeping while they were killed. Mary was dead from a gunshot wound to the back of her head as well as a slit to the throat. So we don't know which was first, but both happened to her. The children did not have gunshot wounds, but all three had their throats slit.
I hate this.
Golly.
Brittany was 12 years old and Bobby was 10 years old at the time. The deaths definitely occurred before the explosion. Robert was not around and the family dog was also nowhere to be found. Investigators theorized that, Mary's plans for divorce maybe were a catalyst for this. That could have been a motive for what they theorized that Robert Fisher had annihilated his own family. So Robert Fisher vanished around the same time his family was killed. Initially, they thought that he probably left right after the late night ATM withdrawals, but it wasn't until 2024, which is over 20 years later, that an investigative journalist interviewed some witnesses that had never been interviewed by police. One claimed to have seen Mary's vehicle outside the Fishers, and Mary's vehicle is the one that he was driving, that they had seen her vehicle outside the residence at 3:30 a.m. and another one saw it there around 5:30 a.m. So these are two separate people that said they saw it much later. So if their recollections are accurate, Fisher must have returned to the house after the ATM withdrawal and then remained there until maybe just a few hours before the explosion. So the timeline is possibly different from what investigators initially thought. Then on April 14th, 2001, Arizona authorities distributed a statewide bulletin identifying Robert Fisher as the person of interest and instructed officers to arrest him if they came upon him. On April 20th, they located Mary's Toyota 4Runner that he had been driving in the Toronto National Forest near the communities of Yonge and Payson. So this is like 100 miles north of Scottsdale, kind of in like a wilderness area. The Fisher's family dog, Blue, was found with the car alive near the vehicle.
Oh.
He had taken shelter under the vehicle, but was hungry and agitated.
Yeah. Poor things.
So you would think that possibly Robert Fisher maybe like took the family dog with him and then abandoned him with the vehicle at some point.
Yeah.
Inside the vehicle, they found an Oakland Raiders hat that matched the hat that he was wearing in the ATM footage. Human feces that were most likely his feces
Gross. Dude.
were also reported on the ground.
Gross. Oh, not in the car?
Not in the car.
You're saying. I thought it was a continuation of what they found in the car. They found his Raiders hat, human feces. And I was like, gross.
Took a
just
shit.
go outside.
It was outside on the ground. And then they decided to start searching that wilderness in that area. There were lots of caves in the area, though, like interconnected underground systems that extended like quite considerable distances under the ground. So, like, police searched what they could of the caves, but people speculate that maybe Fisher could have entered the cave system and either died there or experienced, or he could have died there or like just hidden there and then come back out for a while. But later, very experienced cavers have explored is like a lot of that cave system and have not found anything. So like no trace of him has been discovered. That abandoned vehicle, the 4x4 that was Mary's car, was discovered less than a mile from the Fort Apache Indian Reservation. There were footprints that led in that direction, but they weren't ever able to locate him in that way. They didn't actually search inside the reservation. I know there are certain laws or like things that kind of prevent searches from happening on reservation land. A couple reported to police that they had seen a man who resembled Fisher walking along that Yonge road a few days before the 4runner was discovered by police. So they may have seen him and just didn't know to like report it at the time. So like basically they saw him and they were like, oh, that looks like Robert Fisher. I think he must have already been in the news, but they didn't say anything until after the news broke that his vehicle had been found nearby. So they were like, oh, we probably should have said something. And then they did say something. So that was kind of how that went. Another acquaintance, her name was Lori Greenbeck, told authorities that her husband had gone camping with Robert Fisher in that area. And he got the feeling after knowing everything that Robert Fisher was scouting the area.
Practicing.
Yes. So, and he was, as I said earlier, he was an avid outdoorsman. He knew a lot about how to survive outdoors, and he knew a lot about that area.
Yeah.
On July 19th, 2001, authorities obtained an Arizona arrest warrant charging Fisher with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of arson. Another federal arrest warrant followed, charging him with unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, which is funny because he had already just like they're charging him with fleeing, but he fled before he knew he was charged. He probably knew he did it because we're assuming at this point that he did it, right? But on June 29th, 2002, the FBI placed him on the 10 most wanted fugitives list. So he was the 475th person added to the list. He was featured on America's Most Wanted. He was featured on The Hunt with John Walsh. There was a $100,000 reward from the FBI for information that would result in his capture. And they received tons of tips, but it never really went anywhere. There was one tip that came from Canada in February 2004. Royal Canadian Mounted Police detained a man who looked a lot like Fisher. He was known to have a gold, cap on, or like crown on one of his lower teeth. And this man had a missing tooth right where that gold tooth would have been. He also had a scar on his back, which was a scar that matched the same exact scar that Robert Fisher had from his back surgery. And they kept this man for a week before using fingerprints first to rule him out. Everybody was like, well, what if he altered his fingerprints? They were like, no, it didn't look like he altered his fingerprints. And I'm like, why didn't they check DNA? But it turns out this guy's family members were like, oh, that's my family member. That's not Robert Fisher. And they collected the man. So some other guy that just like checked all the boxes.
Wow. That's so crazy, though. The same tooth and the same scar.
Yeah. So in 2012, this is like
Jeez.
over 10 years after.
Jeez.
The FBI notified law enforcement agencies that Fisher might potentially be living near where the Forerunner had been abandoned, like in that same area that he had left it in the first place.
Just hanging out in the woods?
But they never found any evidence of somebody hanging out and living in the woods. So then in 2014, authorities searched a residence in Commerce City, Colorado, based on a tip that he might be there. And there were 2 occupants that were arrested in the operation, but they found no evidence that Fisher had been there. In April 2016, 15 years after the 3 Fisher family members were found killed, the FBI and Scottsdale police released updated age-progressed images showing what he might look like appearing as an older man. I'll send you pictures of this. He's actually like kind of a nice-looking man. He did have, they said that because of his back injury, he had that like posture where his shoulders are always back. It almost looks like he's puffing out his chest, but it's because of his back injury. So he had shoulders back, chest kind of always like puffed out, and a very rigid spine.
Yeah.
So I can share with you guys pictures of him, or I'll share them on the socials, of what he looked like at the time of his disappearance, and then what he would look like potentially age progressed. He was bumped from the FBI 10 most wanted list on November 3rd, 2021, which it's so funny to me. Like, I guess they do want to keep the 10 most wanted as like the ones that they need the most eyes on, I guess. But like, why not have a 50 or 100 most wanted? Like, it's okay to keep people on a list.
Yeah.
But anyway, somebody else seemed to need more potential eyes on their case.
Like
so
FBI's 10 most
Like,
wanted
what an
list.
attention whore, you know?
So
Whoever that person was.
He was bumped off the list by Yulan Adone Archaga Carias.
Oh, well, I was going to say, why can't they just say this list goes to 11? Sorry, it took me a long time to make that joke.
I like
Not
it.
because I didn't think of it, but because I kept getting interrupted.
I like that joke. I just feel like it's okay to bump people to the top of the list if they're like the number 1 most wanted person at the time. But like,
Yeah.
shouldn't we have a running? Maybe we do have a running list of most wanted. I don't know.
Someone find out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Haley's going to Google it.
Lee, come on.
Lee,
Tell us.
Lee's Azons.
So basically, anyway, we don't know what happened to Robert Fisher. Maybe he died.
So he's still missing?
He's still missing. Maybe he died shortly after running away.
Wait, I need to see a picture of him. I need to make sure he's not my neighbor or
Guys,
something.
there's the U.S. Marshals 15 most wanted list.
Well,
There's a few different lists.
Okay. The U.S. Marshals are really hearing what the people want and doing it better than the FBI.
separate from the FBI.
Yeah, FBI is 10. U.S. Marshals is 15.
So maybe Robert Fisher died. Maybe he's living somewhere under another identity. Maybe he crossed into another country and is living somewhere else. There have been a number of like reported possibly credible sightings, but they have never actually found evidence that any of these are him. So basically he's characterized as an arrogant, cocky, opinionated, solitary person. He was known to use chewing tobacco and reportedly preferred Copenhagen. You know, he's an avid outdoorsman and he is considered armed and extremely dangerous.
Yeah, not a fan of anyone who kills their
Family.
wife and 2 kids.
And as of 2026, which is where we are now, his whereabouts are still unknown.
He would be 65 now. That's crazy.
Robert Fisher.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Well, I hope they find him. I wonder if he just went into the woods and killed himself.
Maybe, but they did search the woods where the car was abandoned extensively, and I didn't hear mention of using like
I guess
dogs.
those cave systems has just kind of caught my...
Maybe he did die in the cave systems, but they didn't mention that they used like police dogs or anything, but I assume they would have.
Yeah.
And they would have uncovered a
Scent.
scent or a trail or like a dead body for sure. Don't you think? I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think
Kind of
they
what I
would.
think.
I don't know.
However,
I feel like...
I was going to say if Bigfoot's hiding in those caves, those dogs aren't going to venture very far.
Yeah.
Maybe. You might be right.
Also,
So,
just what an
Bigfoot.
asshole. killing his family. Like, just get a divorce.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty awful.
Just let your wife divorce. It sounds like his wife was trying to divorce him.
Yeah.
He can't handle
She would have
his feelings
moved
being
right
hurt.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really
Can you say
awful.
that again? Because I talked over you.
He can't handle his feelings being hurt. It's okay. I can move our. No, I can't move our audio. We're in the same room.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're welcome.
good memory.
So that's all I have. Isn't that crazy? It's so
That's
sad.
Nuts.
I was really expecting you to say, and he's just been found in 2025 or something.
No. Nope. Nothing.
I had not heard of this that I know of,
Well,
except for maybe on a list of like family annihilators. Because, you know,
yeah.
Jeez.
nice job, Emmy.
Thanks.
That was really good, Em.
Yeah, riveting.
Well, now it's my turn.
The youngest sister.
And on the best day of the year, December 11th, when I was -7 years old.
Wow.
It's 1978. A group of men descend on John F. Kennedy International Airport, which is located in New York City.
Wow.
They steal $5 million in cash and $875,000 in jewelry.
From the airport?
The largest cash robbery at the time,
Wow.
and the biggest robbery in airline history.
I didn't know airlines had all that stuff.
This is the Lufthansa Heist.
I can't wait.
My sources are YouTube's History's Greatest Heists with Pierce Brosnan,
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Pierce.
the Lufthansa Heist,
Ooh,
and
Brosnan.
Wikipedia, and usinflationcalculator.com.
My favorite website.
Your favorite website. Allegedly, this heist was planned by a man named James Burke,
Okay.
known to be associated with the Lucchese crime family of New York City.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The Lucchese family originated in the early 1920s in New York City, which is part of the 5 families of the mafia.
Wow.
So, dominating organized crime activity in New York City, being part of the nationwide criminal phenomenon known as the American Mafia. Looking into this, the names are priceless. Tommy Lucchese, Tommy Gagliano, Louis Eppolito. Now back to the heist.
I was really expecting you to be like, Fatso, Shorty, One-Eyed Jack,
That would be Giacomo.
One-Eyed Giacomo.
So, this is planned, allegedly,
Allegedly.
by James Burke, known as Jimmy the Gent.
See, that's what I was
That's
going
what
for.
you were looking for.
When you said
That's it.
these names are priceless or diamonds or whatever you said.
Names.
Priceless names.
These names are diamonds.
Diamonds named Tommy Gagliano. Who is an associate of the Lucchese crime family. He got his nickname for tipping drivers when he would hijack their trucks. If they didn't take the tip, they got killed.
Oh,
And he would take the truck anyways. So,
noted. If someone ever tries to hijack my truck and they offer
and
me money, I'll
offers
be like, here you
$50.
go.
You're like, Jimmy,
Thank
thank you.
Thank you. I
So-
accept.
Yes. So Louis Warner, who worked at the airport, had a gambling problem. He owed $20,000 in gambling debts to a man named Martin Krugman. How much in 1978 do we think $20,000 is worth in today's money?
20,000 in today's money.
I would guess it's
I'm
like
gonna say-
80,000. 80 to
Oh,
100.
I was gonna guess more. I was gonna guess like 200,000.
126,000.
You were closer if you said 80 to 100.
I said 80 to 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't want to owe the mob money.
No.
And where Werner worked was the Lufthansa airline, which is a West German airline company. And they would fly in currency to its cargo terminal at the JFK Airport.
Okay.
Krugerman reported this to a man named Henry Hill. Remember that name.
Okay.
Who told James Burke, a.k.a. Jimmy the Gent. Werner and a man named Peter Grunwald had successfully already stolen $22,000 2 years earlier. And this building is on the perimeter of the JFK Airport terminals. So, prime location with a high-value room right on the main floor. And a high-value room is where these terminals would keep the, pricey goods.
Got it.
So Burke then picks his team. And in my mind, this is kind of Ocean's 11
I was
style.
about to say, is this what Ocean's 11 was based on?
No, but there is another movie based on.
I realized I said Ocean's 11.
11's is like the Hobbit meal that comes
Elevensies.
after dinner, I think.
I meant to say Ocean's 11.
So we have Vinny Asaro, the hothead. Gary Valiente, the extra gun. Tommy DeSimone, two-gun Tommy, who is also a violent psychopath. And then we also have Angelo Seppe, Louis Cafora, Joey Buddha Manry, Paolo Licastri, and Robert McMahon.
Robert? How did he get such an interesting name?
Burke's son Frank would man the backup vehicle. Parnell Stacks Edwards would dispose of the van after. Each participant, depending on their role, would get $10,000 to $50,000. But the estimated money was going to be a grab of $2 million. And as we know, they got double that. So Werner makes sure that there is a big drop of cash that the armored vehicles cannot pick up over the weekend. So this is where he delays some very important paperwork that makes it so he's like, oh, sorry, if I had gotten this in by 11 a.m. on Friday, this would have already been picked up, but now it can't be picked up till Monday.
Oh.
So he was to get a flat 10% of the take, no matter what the take was, because of his tip that went up the ladder. And Werner is the one who is in debt to the mob.
Got it.
So I felt like that was very generous of the mob, considering his debt circumstances.
Yeah.
So back to the best day in the world.
Did you hear
December
that, Mom?
11th.
Haley thinks you're generous.
You are. December 11th. The year is 1978. It is 3 a.m. A black van carrying 6 members of this crew pulls up to Building 261, and they climb the stairs and they enter the Lufthansa building. They're wearing ski masks and gloves, and they are armed. The van then drives to the back of the building to wait for a signal. So they cut a chain, but not the padlock, because they know that there are perimeter guards, so who are patrolling the area. Yeah. And so cutting the chain means they can kind of loop it back up, and the padlock looks like nothing has been messed with. So senior cargo agent John Murray is taken hostage. He is then escorted to the lunchroom where there are 5 other employees who are on their break. They are all taken hostage and ordered to lay flat on the floor. They take their wallets and keys. That way, they know where they live. And the mob will then say, don't tell anybody.
I know where you live.
I know where you live. So they handcuff everybody, and Murray is forced to say who else is in the warehouse. A man named Kerry Whalen and also Rudy Elrich, Rudy Elrich has the keys to the high value room. Kerry Whalen is outside patrolling.
Oh, dear.
So he is...
and these guys are all unaware right now, right?
The employees?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rudy and Kerry are both unaware. Mm-hmm. Kerry sees 2 unknown men sitting in a black van. It's out of place, so he approaches the vehicle. Mistake.
Oh, no.
The men tell him to get in the van. Kerry senses something is wrong. He tries to run, but is pistol whipped by Gary, the extra gun, and thrown into the van and handcuffed.
Oh, dear.
Another employee, Rolf Rebman, hears the commotion and goes to investigate. Extra gun Gary points a gun in his face, puts him in the van with Carrie. They are then taken into the building, and they join the other hostages in the break room. They still need to get Rudy, who is the keeper of the keys. And from what a former employee says, Rudy never left his office. So for some reason, they forced John Murray, with a gun to his head, to lure Rudy to the lunchroom.
Why didn't they just walk to Rudy's office?
That was also my question, but
Like,
that's not what they
get
did.
him here. This won't be suspicious. When he's like, no, it will be suspicious.
Maybe Rudy had like an alarm in his room or something like that. I don't know. But they forced John to lure Rudy out of his room. So Rudy, under the impression that there is a call from Germany, heads to the lunchroom, greeted with a gun to the face. Rudy is then forced into the high-value room. And so the high-value room is actually 2 rooms and 2 doors. And all of the valuables are kept in the second room. Now, to access the second room, you have to close the first door. And then you open the second door to the second room. Otherwise, an alarm will go off. The robbers knew this because they had an inside man.
Who? Which one?
Warner.
I knew that.
So Rudy gains access, and the robbers don't waste any time. They load 72 boxes of untraceable cash and a case full of jewelry with diamonds and rubies into their van, and they tell the employees, do not call this in until 4:30 a.m. Once the crew is all loaded up, they head to Gary, the extra gun's house. They unload everything in his basement. Meanwhile, the crime has been reported to the authorities, and they immediately assume it's the mob. Who else would be so brazen at this time in New York City?
I can't even imagine anyone else.
The robbers count the cash, and they realize that it is double than what they expected to get.
Oh my gosh.
So the next step is to get rid of the van used in the heist, because that could be identified. And this is the job of Parnell Stacks Edwards. His job was to drive the van to New Jersey, take it to a junkyard belonging to John Gotti of the Gambino crime family, where it was supposed to be destroyed. But Stacks, he wanted a break. He was like, hey, I deserve to celebrate.
Yeah.
He goes to his girlfriend's house.
Oh, Stacks.
He gets drunk. He had parked his van illegally in front of a fire hydrant.
Oh, Stacks.
The cops impound the van, and fingerprints in the van connect it to Stacks, who was a known criminal.
Wait, and the goods were not in the van.
Goods were not in the van. The goods had been unloaded at Gary's house.
Okay.
So the van was empty, and all he had to do was just get rid of it. He didn't do that.
But he's like, gonna park this in front of a fire hydrant and go to
And go to my girlfriend's house.
Good.
So
Way to go, Stacks.
the police connect the dots. They realize it's the van connected to the heist. And Jimmy the Gent hears that Stacks has failed at his job. Jimmy the Gent talks to Tommy DeSimone, who was known to the mob as a psychopath and as he's Tommy Two Guns.
Right.
So Tommy is deployed to clean up the mess.
Oh, boy.
The New York Police Department finds Parnell Stacks Edwards dead in his apartment, shot 5 times in the head.
Oh, you're right. There was a death.
Yeah.
There's going to be a few more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you
There's gonna
said
be a
there
few
was
more.
no death in your story.
Not in the heist.
Gotcha.
No death in the heist.
I guess this is the day after
This is
her
what
birthday.
happens with the mob. Well, this is several days after my birthday. My birthday was the heist.
That
No
crime.
deaths
No
on your
deaths.
birthday in that crime. Gotcha.
So Jimmy Burke starting to feel the heat from the FBI. And the FBI has identified the crew due to the discovery of Stacks' van and the known association of Stacks with the mob. Jimmy begins to think about the weak links in this crew.
Yeah.
He decides he's going to kill anyone who could implicate him.
Oh, Jimmy, come on.
Now, the FBI
Is
sets up...
this Two Guns, Jimmy? No, it's Two
No,
Guns.
this is
Tommy.
Jimmy the Gent.
Jimmy the Gent. Jimmy the Gent.
Yeah. So FBI sets up surveillance, starts bugging their vehicles, their phones at known hangouts, even payphones nearby known hangouts, and following the crew in helicopters.
Oh, that's not subtle, though.
And they begin to gather information about the heist. When the FBI talks to anyone that they thought were involved with the heist, that person ends up dead.
Oh.
Now,
It makes you just not want to participate in a heist. Like next time the mob invites you on
well,
a
it's
heist.
not fun.
You'd be
I'm
like,
going to RSVP. No.
Yeah.
no thanks. I know what happened to Stax.
Now, you probably don't remember me naming a guy named Peter Grunwald.
I
do
actually because
remember.
his German name stuck out to me.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
said, remember this name. And I was
Well,
like, yes.
Perfect. I'm so glad you guys paid
I
attention.
thought it was a different name that you said. Remember this name?
It might have
I
been.
didn't know it was Peter Grunwald. I think it was a different name.
I would
was-
have to.
It was something with an H.
Yeah,
Grunwald.
remember that. He and Louis Werner had successfully stolen about $20,000 from Lufthansa before this whole thing began. And Grunwald was under the impression that he would be in on any heist that Louis was going to pull.
Oh, I bet he was pissed.
Louis cut him out. So when word broke of the heist, Grunwald fled, thinking he was going to be implicated. And he is arrested trying to flee the country. And this is when Grunwald talks. He admits that the plan was his, but he never acted on it. His coworker, Louis Warner, brought the plan to the mob.
If there's one thing I learned from the Three Amigos is that you don't try to cut out the Germans.
It's true, you don't. Also, is anybody else struggling to not go, Louis? Oh, baby.
That hadn't occurred to me up until you just did it.
I've
but
been
now,
holding it in for
just
about
wait.
20 minutes.
I'm really glad that you finally did it. So, Louis Warner is the only person convicted of this crime.
What?
And he is sentenced to 15 years.
Louis.
Due to Jimmy
Gotta
the
get it more
Gents.
throaty.
Louis.
I knew
was
you
Hayley,
could do it,
everybody.
Haley.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
she
you.
could.
So, due to Jimmy the Gent's paranoia, people start dying.
Oh, Jimmy.
Martin Krugman was allegedly, and this is all alleged and for entertainment purposes only, everybody. Mob, please don't come after me. Allegedly murdered and dismembered by Jimmy and Sepe. His body was never found. Richard Eaton found hogtied and hanging in a meat freezer.
Oh.
Tommy Montaloni, Louis Cafora, and his wife Joanna,
Oh, no.
bodies never found.
Oh, dear. Hopefully they just got away. Hopefully they're
Louis
just in hiding.
couldn't keep his mouth shut, told his wife too much.
Oh.
Joey, the Buddha Manry, and Robert McMahon, shot in the back of their heads, found in a car in Brooklyn.
Wait, he was Joey the Buddha?
Joey Buddha Manry.
Okay.
Sorry, my bad.
No.
I just put in the. Paolo Lee Castri, shot to death. Extra Gun Gary. He says 30 murders are linked to this heist.
Jeez.
People were killed around Jimmy if they talked about the heist. And as people died, Jimmy's cut got bigger and bigger. Extra Gun Gary kept his mouth shut. He got $750,000.
Were there two extra gun guys?
No, there was
Just Extra Gun Gary.
Extra Gun Gary and then two
And
guns.
Two
Gun
so-and-so.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Two Gun Tommy.
I remember that
It's
because of
confusing,
alliteration.
yes.
Two gun Tommy.
Extra Gun Gary.
Two Gun Tommy was like a maniac, remember? And Extra Gun Gary was just
Psychopath.
like level-headed, kept his mouth shut, got a 750.
And also was on this documentary.
Oh, yeah.
It's a documentary.
Jimmy the Gent went to jail for.
A year. 2 years. 1 year. 6 months.
What do you think he went to jail for?
3
For
years.
murder.
Wait, crime.
For crime. For
2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, 3 years.
for
Conspiracy to fix college basketball games.
No way. He went to jail. That's what they got him on because they couldn't prove anything else.
Did it sound
And
to
he-
you like I said it at the same time as you? It didn't,
Yeah.
did it?
It will
Sure.
probably when we edit it, it'll either
When
sound like
Nettie
you're with
edits
it
this.
or way ahead of it. Even though in real life, you're at the beat behind.
And he passes away in 1996.
Wow.
Security at JFK Airport has since been increased. In 2014, Vincent Asaro, a captain of the Bonanno crime family, arrested on January 23rd, 2014, charging him with involvement in the heist. Acquitted of all charges.
Oh, well, did they get him on basketball
Just Jimmy the Gent.
stuff? Oh, okay.
Now, the stolen cash and jewelry has never been recovered. And is any of this sounding at all familiar?
A little bit.
But I don't pay attention to mob stuff. I just don't.
Fun fact,
What is
Robert
it?
De Niro in Goodfellas, based on real-life mobster Jimmy the Gent.
No way.
Henry Hill, remember him? Played by Ray
yes.
Liotta.
That's the name
Entered
you
witness
said.
protection.
You said remember that name, and it was Henry Hill. I knew it had
Uh-huh.
an H.
Yep. Played by Ray Liotta. Tommy DeSimone, Two Gun Tommy, played by Joe Pesci.
You know what I have never watched is Goodfellas. I've never watched it.
Are you serious? It's so good.
Oh, this is the second case that we've done that was connected to Goodfellas.
What was the
It's-
first one? I don't remember.
Do you remember that missing woman from Florida where the other woman came and took her place? Lucinda Hughes.
Yes, Lucinda Hughes. I do remember. That was so wild.
That
Case, but I don't remember
crazy.
at
the connection to Goodfellas.
that happened at a bar that was like connected to the
Connected to the mob.
mob. Yeah.
Okay, I do remember us
Oh.
talking about it. You know, I'm probably going to watch Goodfellas and be like, oh, I've seen this.
You probably will. It's so good. I love Goodfellas. It's one of my favorite movies. And all of this is alleged and speculation and for entertainment purposes only. We certainly aren't
You mean for educational purposes?
Uh-huh. And we certainly aren't accusing anyone for anything, for any purpose. And to the mob, we love you.
Yeah.
And that is the Lufthansa heist.
Oh my goodness. That was
goodness.
wild ride.
Yeah, Hayley.
With some deaths.
It had some deaths. I was wrong about it, but it's like, it wasn't like sad like your guys' is, because all of those guys are involved in the mob.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes, but sad about the mob family, the one with the wife. Did a child die?
No,
Okay.
no children.
Aw. Well,
That was sad about that.
you gotta.
but the guy should have kept his mouth shut.
I was trying to make a you gotta be kidding me joke about the Gottis.
Oh, the Gotti.
Oh,
And then
yeah, they
you
love that
Gotti.
joke.
You gotta
Keep
be
it up.
kidding me.
Keep it up, Nettie. They love that.
Hold on. Say it again.
No, I'm done. I'm done, Hayley.
I was going to let you splice it in somewhere because you're editing this.
Oh, I will splice it if I want. Listen, also, what was the other name of the ones that sounded like banana?
Banano.
The Bananos. What a great last name.
Yeah, no
The
kidding.
Banano
Bananos.
crime family.
That's a great
Bananos.
last name.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow, that was
yeah.
it was a wild and crazy
I
time.
know.
Oh,
Great
None
job.
of the money or jewelry was recovered. Yeah.
wild.
no. I wonder where it is. Probably in a safe somewhere.
Yeah. Some guy has it and just
So is-
opens his safe and looks at it and then closes it.
I'm sorry, did we establish if Jimmy the Gent is still in prison?
He died in 1996.
You did say that.
She established
but I got
Yeah.
so caught up in being in prison over basketball charges.
Yeah. And one of my favorite scenes.
that. You're thinking about all your own basketball interactions where you're like, shoot. I
was like, am I going to be
I didn't
busted?
know I could go to jail for this.
Is it 1 point or 2 points if somebody makes a basket? Well, Nettie, it depends.
It's actually 2 points or 3 points. Haley,
Or 1 point for 3 free throws.
3 points for a three throw.
Free throw is 1 point.
A
A
3-pointer
regular point is 2 points, and then there's a 3-point
is
line.
3 points. Mm-hmm. Yes, Haley, I'm glad we established that. Please don't take us to jail because we don't know basketball point systems.
So, also, we could be wrong about anything basketball related. So please.
All of it, to be quite honest. I'm not even totally sure how long a game is. So, anyways.
Lee, This is a good time for correction, Lee.
Yeah, Lee, tell us. Also, this morning, Oliver was talking about height, and he was like, well, I could be really tall. I do have an uncle who is 6'7", and we were like, do you understand that you don't have any genes related to that uncle? And he was like, well, he's your brother, right, Dad? And I was like, no, he's married to my sister. He is so bad with knowing family connections.
I love him so much.
That is so cute.
All right, Nettie, it's your time to take us out.
Thanks for listening. Once again, we are the Spooky Darlings. You can follow us on our socials at the Spooky Darlings Podcast. You can also email us any stories you might have. Is it crime related? Are you a Bonanno or a Gotti? You gotta be telling us your stories if you are. You can email us at thespookydarlings@gmail.com. And follow us and listen to us anywhere you get your pod. You can also find our merch if you want to treat yourself to something fun at thespookydarlings.printful.me. So thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
5 stars. 5 bananas.
Now we did it.
So before we get into my crime, I want to do a little bit like on the day I was born for you, because February 18th, should we wait just until the life flight helicopter leaves?
Do we also maybe want to put the blinds down?
Is it too bright for you?
No, I was just thinking sound.
Oh!
Blinds muffle the sound. You didn't know about that, though, because Hayley just told you for the first time.
You just discovered this from me talking about it.
It's like you're a baby born on your birthday. This is perfect for the theme.
Oh, shit. She didn't even hear what you said because she took her headphones off.
Also, if it was me and I don't want to hear it.
And she doesn't want to hear it, but you heard that because you can hear the microphone.
I can hear it, but it was not mean.
No. But I'm offended for you anyway. I don't know.
Okay. The helicopter's gone. Are we ready?
Okay.
Yes, we're ready.
So, birthday crimes.
Yes.